All right, welcome to today's episode of Success in Tech. After a couple of people asked me to talk about freelancing and not only remote work, but really freelancing and being an independent professional, I thought I'll invite two of my best friends from Austria, and they both have freelancing experience. And I think it would be really helpful for a lot of you guys, and also for me, to hear their stories and how they got into freelancing. And I think we can go through a lot of questions and get their opinion on some stuff. Andreas, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey there, my name is Andreas Lorenz. I'm 27 years old and also studied with Ramon computer software engineering in Austria. Currently I work for Bildung 360. Bildung 360 is an awesome educational platform. And apart from my normal job, I also do some freelance jobs, especially programming, web applications, or only small projects, but also on an hourly basis. And I started being a freelancer, I would say, about 1.5 years ago. I had a normal job, but I wanted to get some more, or earn some more money beyond my job, and I got some approaches from some different clients who wanted to have some different stuff from me, only small projects, only a few hours, and then it continually raised the hours, and so I started a little bit more and more, as much as I can, and now I'm working again, but also do some freelance stuff.
Cool. Benjamin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Benny. I'm 28 years old. I live in Munich. I'm a brand UX designer at the moment in a small design agency called Spektrum 44. Yeah, and sometimes I'm doing some freelance projects beside my full-time job, but before that I did some freelance stuff the full-time. So yeah.
So mixed.
Mixed. I think I started about 3 years ago, so it was sometimes quite a mix between full-time and freelance.
Okay, so let's get into one of the most important questions. Can you run a freelance business besides a regular job, besides your regular 9 to 5? What do you guys think?
I think you can. Yeah. It is possible, but you have to be sure that although that you can only work after if you have a normal 9 to 5 job, it's only possible for you to work the hours afterwards.
Yeah.
So it can be quite a lot of programming.
Yeah.
Especially you come home and you have to do your job. You have to do some hours, and then it's a lot of time you have to put in there. But on the other hand, it's nice. You always learn new stuff, and but it's a lot of amount of work and decide to put to get your projects done.
Do you usually, block out some time at a specific time every day or every week to do freelancing work if you do a 9 to 5 besides?
Yeah, I used to, especially if I used to do a lot of projects, like let's say there's a project for 8 hours in total, so you can say, okay, if you put it down to 4 days, so you have to do at least 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I used to go to my normal job, like I started a bit earlier at 8, so I could leave earlier to work.
Yeah.
I went home, I had some food, and afterwards I would say about 8 o'clock in the evening I started with my other projects, and it was then it's possible, but it's a lot of amount of time you still need.
Yeah.
You can do other stuff, but it worked out.
Mm.
But I think the biggest aspect is if you're allowed to do it beside your full-time job. So if the boss of the 9 to 5 job says no, you can't do anything about it. So you have to talk to the company. So
So you're pointing out something really important here. It can happen that in your contract, because of legal reasons, you're not allowed to have any other job besides your 9 to 5. So that's something you really need to clarify before you do any freelancing business, because you can't just do it in secret, right? You have to promote yourself, you have to market yourself, and people will know that you work besides your 9 to 5. So check that out, and maybe even if you go to a new job and you're looking at a new contract, it's worth pointing out and it's worth negotiating about like clauses like that where it says you can't work for competition, which makes sense, but also you can't work at all besides that one job. Now, for everybody who wants to get into freelancing, the first question will be, how do I build up a customer base? How do I get my first few customers? And I'm sure you guys had the same problem in the beginning. How did you tackle that?
For me, it was quite easy, I would have to say. I had a lot of luck because I had to do an internship for my study. So I went to Munich.
So that was during your university studies?
During my university study, I was supposed to do a 3-month internship.
Yeah.
It had to be in the area of computer science.
Yeah.
So I decided to go to Munich and I applied at an advertising agency.
Yeah.
It is still one of the biggest agencies in Munich or in Germany. And during my internship there, they also asked me about if I would be able to do some stuff then when I leave the internship. So it kind of started like I worked for them, continuing during the study. It was only about, I would say, 20 hours in a month.
Yeah.
And afterwards, it was still one of my biggest clients. Like advertising agencies, they always have to do always have a lot of stuff. They always have a lot of projects, one at the same time. And they need a lot of manpower to just get it done.
Yeah.
And that's was a nice and easy way for me to get in touch with more clients, also with customers. And then I was also a part of getting in contact with them, so I set up a social media profile like Xing and LinkedIn. I connected with all of my friend colleagues and also with partners and everyone I met. And afterwards it was also quite easy because there was a lot of change in their jobs. They always moved to different agencies, they moved to client sites, and then you have to stay a bit in contact, and then you kind of have a lot of contacts and you can write them or chat with them just normal. And for me it was quite easy, but it started really slow and then it grew and then it took a lot of time, and then I had like a bigger amount of contacts, and then it kind of worked.
So maybe one of the big takeaways will probably be, in your case, you started off small, you got into it after doing your internship.
Yeah.
So probably it wasn't the plan for you to start freelancing from there, but you took over a couple of smaller jobs and it grew into a bigger freelancing thing for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really small, only like projects like 2 or 3 hours, which is really small.
Yeah.
But it had to be done in a special timeline. It was like, but it was worth for me because I did study, I had time to do it. Yeah. And then I said like, oh, maybe I could like get more jobs, do more things, and then it all started kind of growing. The more and more it got.
Yeah, I think that's something to point out, that even if you're not planning into getting into freelancing immediately, if you get offered smaller jobs like this, maybe just do it, see how it works out, and if it turns out you like it, you can still grow it more and get into it. If it turns out you don't like it, well, then you earned a little bit of money and you made a good experience.
Definitely.
Yeah. How about you, Benny?
For me, it was also really easy, I think, or I didn't have a plan to start freelancing. It was like just, I worked at an agency full time, and one day I talked to a friend about work and things like that, and at some point he was like, hey, I need some help with some stuff, so do you want to earn some money beside your full-time job? And I was like, I just grabbed the chance, did some stuff. It got like word of mouth, some people talked about it. It was, it all started to grow, so it was also really easy, and I didn't have any plan for to grow or to do an online portfolio to promote myself. It was just like for word of mouth, like friends talking about stuff like that.
Yeah. It's interesting because we have two very different roles here. You're very the designer type. You're in the visual stuff. You are a full stack developer, I would say. Yeah. So how does your portfolio look like, or how would you put yourself into social media, for example, and how does yours look like?
I have to say I'm pretty lazy at doing my online portfolio, honestly, because I only have one Xing account and one LinkedIn account. Yeah. But I constantly take a look at my skills. But if I learn new things, I add them.
So new technologies, frameworks.
New technologies, framework, like the whole stuff which is coming up, but I also have a look at also what's going on other stuff. I look like what's new, what is everyone using. Then I just look at it a bit and say like, if I can do it, do I really need? Does it have like more? Can I earn some money with it? Can I just improve my skills in every set?
Yeah.
And then I also write down which projects I did and what kind of project it was. Like, it was just a simple HTML template, or was it a more complicated web application with some stuff in the backend? So which technologies did I use? And so I just write down a brief description about my projects, which stack I used, and that's pretty much my portfolio.
Okay, so it's a primarily text-based portfolio where you describe the projects and the technologies used, and you update the profiles with new technologies and new skills you learn.
And if I also talk to the agencies and to the customers, if I'm allowed to send the link out. Which is mostly it's fine for them. But I always clarify it with the customer, so it's really there's no issue.
So when you say link, you mean the URLs to, for example, a website you built.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
cool.
So that's pretty much also, I think, the best stuff for developers. So if you can show your showcases, you can say, I did this website with I don't know, let's say these 4 frameworks. Then it's even easier for other developers that they can have a look at it and say, I've never used this, but here's an example for it and it works. So it's kind of like, it's promoting yourself with your existing skills, and the better it is, the better for you. It's the best promotion you can do.
What about you?
For me, it's really easy. There are a lot of ways, for example, like these online portfolios, like these big ones, like Dribble or Behance. At Dribble, you can show your screenshots of your current work, so like the people see what you're doing or get a feeling about your skills, about your style and all that stuff. But normally, I just have a PDF with all my projects in it. It's about 15 sites, I think. There are 5 projects in it. And I just show them what I did. I have also a small description in it, and we just talk about it. And or when they want to see more, I have a bigger one. But it's just for me, it's just I have a visual thing, and I show them.
So those are screen designs and mock-ups maybe, and things like that. Do you also put screenshots in there from the finished projects?
All the projects are finished projects, so there are no prototypes or something like in there. It's just all. So when they see like a project about one of my clients, they can go on the website, or I will send them another link to a small movie or something like that.
All right. So starting off, many people try to start or boost their freelancing career with those freelancing marketplaces, where you post your skills, you post a particular skill, and you offer a price. One of them I can think of is called Fiverr, and I want to hear your opinions about that.
I've never used Fiverr, but I had to look at other marketplaces like Upwork or Freelancer, and I think if you're starting like from day one as a freelancer, it can help you grow a lot of clients. Like, especially if you are going to look at it and say like, I just try to get as many projects, as many clients as possible. You can just take smaller projects, but you just have to get a big network. And I think for the starting up, it's quite helpful for you as a programmer, especially if you also take a lot of projects on. You can get a lot of good reputation or get the feedback, and then you can also already know a little bit. You already know like, freelancing is more my stuff, or I'm into it and I really want to get bigger and I want to do more and more stuff. And I think it's especially perfect for starting quite new if you don't have any contacts in that field.
If you're a beginner, it's perfect.
Would you guys say that the interesting projects, the big projects, could come from one of those places, or is this more something you would expect from personal contacts?
I think personal contact, or a hiring person that is specially looking on the Angsing or LinkedIn for that type of developer or that.
Interesting. Okay.
That type of designer.
I would also agree that like such marketplaces are only there are no bigger projects in there. Because normally I think if you're a customer and looking like bigger projects in, I don't know, let's say, which takes about 3 to 6 months, I
Yeah,
would probably
yeah.
guess it's a bigger project, you're not looking on this website or
Yeah.
on these marketplaces, because Fiverr is quite.
So those are mostly like small, like 1,
Yeah.
2, 3 hour projects.
But the good thing is, like, if you have like already a lot of clients, and if you already have done like projects for them, maybe
Yeah.
they're just gonna write you an email and don't even use one of these marketplaces, and that's the point where you should get into it.
Yeah.
Because normally these marketplaces also take like a percentage fee.
Oh yeah.
Because why should they get a percentage if you do all the work?
Yeah.
So I think it's quite for this getting just like clients and contacts. It's quite perfect.
Yeah.
And then you should have looked that you already get in contact with them per email. Face to face is even better.
Yeah.
But
So you essentially you go there to start off. You build up a small network. Maybe you even filter out stuff and you realize what you like and what you don't like.
Yep.
And you jump off from there and stay connected to those customers on a more personal level. So you don't use the platform anymore after a while.
Yep.
Okay. So one of the headaches lots of freelancers have is how to come up with a reasonable price tag, which on the one hand is high enough for yourself because you want to earn money, and on the other hand not scaring customers away. So how do you guys tackle that?
I have to say that when I started becoming a freelancer, I had some issues because I only just thought about the programming stuff.
Yeah.
But you also have to don't forget all the other stuff. Like you have like communication with the clients, but you also have like other things, like you have a feedback, you have like testing phase, you have like Q&A, you have like deployments. That was my first 2 or 3 projects. I missed that part.
Yeah.
But you quickly realize that you have also like to count these hours as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like a learning process. It was a learning process for me. So like, let's say like if I get like projects, I look at them like in technical case. If they're big, I just split them up in subtasks. So it was easier for me to estimate how much time it took. And then on how much time I needed, I always put some like pro-central stuff in it, like for QA and testing, feedback, communication with the client, which is quite important also in the whole project.
Yeah.
But also you have to take into account that you also have to like writing some builds. So it was also kind of like you have to do a lot of stuff beyond just programming or designing.
Yeah.
So how small would be a subtask which you can estimate?
That's kind of hard to say. It depends on the project. Like if it's simple HTML, you can probably just say, okay, like if you have like one pager and you have like a header and a footer, probably that's kind of good split for a subtask. And then you have like a module, like let's say you have a slider, or you have like different kind of other types, let's say.
So one subtask could be the footer, one subtask could be the header, one could be a slider.
Yeah.
And so you split it off in those, and then you sum up.
Exactly.
The
then
hours.
I sum up about the amount of hours, and then let's say like you have 8 hours. Then I say, okay, good. From these 8 hours, this is just programming. You don't have any testing in there. So then you have to connect QA. Then you have to get the whole content in there. So I always put up like about, I would say 25% of just to get it fixed. Talking to clients, get the feedback rounds. Just having a look at testing devices, which is quite important. It takes a lot of time. Testing is like a thing which is really, some point I missed out really a lot in the beginning, and which kind of I missed it.
Yeah.
So it was just a little
There's
bit
a
of
learning.
learning. From my side.
For me at the beginning it was also really hard to manage myself, because I didn't know sometimes how long do I need to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So it was at the beginning sometimes I really ran out of money, but after a few projects I got a feeling for it, about timing, about stuff, how long do I need, and it always got better. So it's you start as a beginner and you always get more experience about stuff, how you need to set your builds or stuff like that.
I'm wondering, how is it for designer roles when you finish something? How many rounds or how much time you need to incorporate feedback you get before you can hand it off completely?
That's depends on the projects. You have to talk with the client how many feedback rounds you do. Normally you do like 2 or 1. It really depends on that. So yeah, you have to talk to them how you also to finish the stuff. Do you just give them some wireframes, or do you give them the PSD files, or do you give them some stuff in Sketch? So it depends on the stuff you're doing. So it's every project is different, because sometimes when you're doing like in print, you're doing like a flyer is totally different than you're doing like a business card or stuff like that.
Do you fix the amount or the number of feedback rounds you're willing to take?
Yeah, it depends on it how much money I make. So on the small project I say, hey, normally 2 or 3 must be fine. Or I will get another rebriefing because I didn't understand stuff or we didn't discuss it at the beginning. And I got more work that I really thought that I would get. But yeah, it's the easiest way just to talk to everything about it at the beginning, so it's really clear to 100% nearly how you really to get fixed stuff.
So don't get into the project too fast.
No.
And try to gather as much requirements as you can in the beginning.
So at the beginning, the communication is really important, because you need to know everything about it.
Organizational stuff is probably as important as the actual development work or design work you do at the freelancing job. So this question is, how do you do the project management side of things, and how do you stay in touch with the customer?
It's from my side, it's quite a lot of. It depends. Like it's a lot of. You have to be transparent a lot of with the client, because you have to do a lot of communication, especially in programming. And it depends. Like every company or each client has also like the internal process management or the internal how to do it. Maybe they have some. Maybe they have some methods they already use. Maybe they use Jira for ticketing, or they use Slack for the communication. And that's like one thing you have to clarify in the beginning. Are you still in there? Are you going to adapt to that process? Do you get the Slack account? Do you get the Jira account? Where do you have to host your whole code? Do you have to provide it? Or are they providing, like, let's say GitHub or any other subversioning system like Subversion or something else? So
do you usually adapt to their needs? So you start using their ticketing system, you go to their Slack channels and stuff like that?
Yeah, most of the time, yes. Because the clients are, most of the time they are like bigger. They're like more project. There's not just like a project manager on their side. They're like different, like probably there's like a technical project manager in there. There's a normal project manager. Maybe you have to deal with some graphic designers. So they already have like or they have like a progress system in there. Let's say they have Slack for the communication or any Microsoft product. And it's quite easier for you to just adapt to their style, because it's faster, you get the access, and you don't have to care about anything else. So you get the whole access to get the whole stuff.
So you don't need to host it, and you just participate.
You just participate to the whole thing, and So maybe you also take part at their daily stand-up project stand-ups. Maybe you go there, talk with them every day, and say like, okay, my plans for today are this part and
so
this
do you
part.
prefer having daily communications with them, and do you want to be in their Scrum process, for example, or do you like rather stay out and deliver on a bi-weekly basis, for example?
No, I really like to communicate them on a daily basis, because also if you are on a daily communication basis, you can just have simple questions to them. They can simply ask you, and you have like, it's quite more, they're quite used to it. So like you're writing to them like each time, and it's like just like getting a better communication, getting a better, also maybe also you can communicate with them better, get them know better, and maybe if they like it, they're gonna give you some like more other projects. So it's like kind of a socializing like in another way of part, but it's quite useful to have like those daily communication with the client, and say them like, okay, today I have like this plan and I'm gonna finish that part, and then I can start with tomorrow with the next part. And so they have also like, if you always try to be as transparent as possible, they also always get a better feeling, because sometimes I think that clients don't really trust freelance because they don't work in their office. And they have
so they're remote a lot of times.
More of it, remote, and then you have like close the gap between just that they are gonna trust you and gonna give you more projects, and that's like also a good way to do it.
Yeah.
from my opinion.
The two biggest points are be flexible in the way they communicate with you.
Yeah.
And the second thing is just like, be as transparent as possible, because the freelance stuff with an agency or with a client, it's just about trust.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
You know, in the field of UX design, how do you deliver your stuff? You use any versioning systems or something?
At the moment, I'm just using like normal files, like from InDesign or from Photoshop or something.
Yeah.
But I just talk to them at the beginning how they want the data.
Okay, now being a freelancer is very different from working on a 9-to-5 job. You cover more than just one role, and I guess being a freelancer requires to have certain professional and personal qualities and attributes. What do you guys think is are the most important ones?
Important thing is to just manage yourself. You have a lot of other responsibilities as well. You have to take care about your daily income. You have to write some bills, but you also have to, like, if you don't know if you don't know about some special part of, let's say, programming, you have to be able to learn it in a really fast way.
Yeah.
But you also have to stay at your timelines. Like if you say I have to deliver it tomorrow, you have to deliver it.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is also to find sometimes like quick and dirty or quick solutions which work, but they are not excellent, but they work for that kind of specific project.
Yeah.
And that's the most hardest thing to teach.
So that's a compromise you have to take, right? You can't strive for perfection every time.
You should, but you're running out of time.
Yeah.
And then you have to know, now I have to make a cut and continue with some other parts. Otherwise, you cannot be you cannot deliver on the timeline you said you're gonna deliver, and that's probably the most difficult thing to learn from my side. So it was just like taking the compromise.
So which aspects and which roles you have to assume as a freelancer you guys dislike the most?
For me, definitely administrative stuff. Like you have to take you have to look at the legal stuff. You have to pay taxes, the insurance, and also writing the bills, which was not where I wasn't used to do it, because I was just a developer at an agency, but others were there doing it.
Yeah, in a regular job, everybody like you're in one role. Right?
Yeah. So you have to do it, or you don't like it, but you have to do it because it's your own money, and you don't want to lose it.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Neither you find someone who does it for you, you have to pay them as well, or you just do it on your own, and it's still a thing I don't like, but you have to do it.
Yeah. Does it get easier?
You're getting faster. It's getting easier. It doesn't get easier, but you're getting definitely faster.
Okay, so now one question for our UX designer here. I'm assuming it's very different to promote yourself as a designer compared to promoting and marketing yourself as a developer. Because as a developer, you can show pieces of work you did, which, you built the code, you made it work. How do you do that for design jobs?
For design jobs, it's always the same. Do a good portfolio, and the portfolio website, it should be really good, because you're a UX designer. You should know what you're doing. Yeah. When the client goes on the website, they should like say, "Wow, that's a really nice website. I want to work with them," so they can show them your skills. There are a lot of platforms like Behance, Dribbble to show your skills, to show your work. It's a lot of word of mouth. It's also writing to people also, and per email. Maybe you can also write and start up an email and say, "Hey, I just saw your website. I just saw your product, and it's really great. But these are 3 points I would change now."
So you would proactively go out to smaller companies, startups, whatever it is, and then point out some stuff and offer your help.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it works out, maybe not. So it's just a try. It's just to try out and see if it works.
Yeah.
Because it's also maybe a good thing when you write them an email and say, "Hey, I would change these things." Maybe they also think about it and say, "Hey, we like him because he's not in our company and he does not work for us, but he also has like a critical thinking about our product." And maybe they think about it and say, "Help us to solve some problems."
Shows that you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
So how do you handle communication? Let's say you're working in different time zones than your customer, and he starts emailing you at night, or even calling you.
Yeah.
How strict are you with that?
I tried.
Phone calls, I don't answer them,
Yeah.
but I try to communicate the emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am also, it didn't really happen often that there's like a really big gap between of the time zones. Like only like, I think the most was 3 hours. I was 3 hours before them, which is quite, you can handle it quite good because
Yeah.
when they start the office, you told me you can still answer them questions.
Yeah. True.
But just phone calls during the day, I don't answer them because I clarify with them at the beginning that I do have a normal job and they can only reach me via the phone
in a certain time frame.
In a certain time frame.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for your time. I hope it was helpful for you guys as well. Leave whatever question you have in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this discussion round, this Q&A round, let me know and I'll try to incorporate more of them in my videos. My name is Ramon Lopez and this is Success in Tech. Booyah!